And we are, in fact, back with the second hour of this week's episode of The Long Voyage. And you had asked Lorcan McKinneth a very pertinent question. Let's have a look at him here.
But I just had a thought.
Yes.
Because I just kind of took for granted that the authority would know how magical items are made, or at least...
You know what it takes to create a magic item. It's common knowledge to anyone with magic.
Good. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I think it's common knowledge to anyone with magic because, you know, one of the first questions I think anyone who's learning that will ask is, why can't I just put this into a stick and have as many of this rote or this effect as I want to? And then somebody will say, oh yeah, now I'll tell you why. So yes.
And you go, ugh.
Exactly. Nasty. Okay, so yes, you have a...
The question was, is it permanent? Or are they permanent, I think he asked.
And, well, I'm assuming that gets translated. So...
Yes, of course. Back in translate. Just ask the question, I will assume that back.
Yes, and well, Lorcan smiles and says, of course they are. Otherwise they'd hardly be what you'd call, well, I suppose you could... make them feel magic for a short time, but if you know anything about magic, young man, then I'm sure you should be able to sense that these are the real thing.
Would you mind if I picked them up?
Go ahead.
What poor sods went through... Okay.
He does, and...
Yeah.
Do I need to roll something?
No, you can feel the magic in the palms of your hands. This is powerful stuff.
Uncle, convey my skepticism. I don't understand why he would part with something like this so readily.
He looks, when that gets translated, he looks back and says, I do because it is imperative to me. It is imperative to me that Liam leaves Caer Smaragde alone. We are supposed to be a neutral city. He has violated that agreement. If he leaves, his hold on the people of the city will slowly diminish. Before he has time to go all the way north and come all the way back, people will know that they were manipulated. He will not be welcomed back in another time. And if he should then decide, oh, but I'm going to take the city, if he should decide something that's stupid, it will, even for him, it would take him many 10 days, possibly seasons or even a year of investing this city before he would be able to take it. He would have every single Arasari in the Tigna Drochte fighting against him. We would do so much damage to his army that any other sword left in Tirglass could walk right up to him and kill him. He wouldn't be that stupid.
Ah, so you want control back in the city.
Indeed.
What do they do? He then asks, instead changing the subject, I guess.
Ilva is now nodding eagerly. Yeah, what do they do?
I don't know if he'd be able to sense that on his own.
No, you can't. He says, you and someone else would put one on each. Not only would you always know where the other person is, presumably across vast distances. I don't know how vast. Let's put it this way. I've never actually felt the end of their reach. So at least across an area as large as Tirglass. But you would also be able to communicate with that person.
That is, well, invaluable.
Indeed it would be. Imagine what it would do for someone like you, he says. if such an item, just as a thought, but if such an item fell into the hand of your sword,
Thrody looks to his uncle and says, I suggest we accept.
What do they do? Oh, that was
Baggy-
said.
yeah.
In Southland, Baggy just smiles at Frodo and says, "Well, that was never enough." He smiles
some
and then
closed caption
says
shit.
in Southland.
Yes.
That was it.
That was a good one, though. I'll give you that one.
Oh
That was,
my god,
as-
I want to see someone smile in Southland now.
as Miss speaking goes, that was actually funny. Anyway,
That was very cool.
then yes, but so you guys agree to his terms, I take it.
Yeah.
Yes. Of course, Thrody would at least ask if there's more, if there are more details he can provide us with now that we've accepted. The more we know, the better we can.
Of course, he says. He takes out from inside his sleeve, he takes out a small, or it looks like a small folded up piece of skin, or hide, cowhide or something. And
Oh, that's better.
Yeah, no.
Whoa.
He unfolds it, and it's a map. It's not terribly detailed, but it's no maps really are that detailed, but it is a map.
Useful still.
It's quite useful, definitely, and he points to it. It's not huge when it's unfolded. It is kind of smallish, but it's large enough to do the trick. And he points to a specific point on it and says, "This is where we are. This is CharismaToAC," and you can tell that he's correct in what he's been saying about the location and so on. And then he points slightly north of there. There are a couple of lines drawn on the map, like wriggly, wavy lines, and he says, "These are the mountains that I mentioned, where something has recently happened." And then
Is that where we have been
yes,
turning
it is.
us? Ooh.
Yes.
Well, she just smiles knowingly.
And then he says, and points all the way up to the north, literally almost at the absolute top of the map. And he says, "Here, up here. This is where he originally came from. This is where his home is, where his heartland is. Everybody there is under his sway. I don't even think he has to use his means of attracting people to his side there. They all believe in him."
And that's where he sent some of his men to investigate something that had happened, yes?
No, he sent his men into the mountains where something happened. All the way up here, he says, is where he came from originally, and that's where I suggest that, I don't know where your ship is, obviously, but I suggest you find it, and the rest of your crew, follow the coast, go ashore in that area, and start doing what Southlanders do so incredibly efficiently.
Well, it will take, of course, a little while, but I think this is very agreeable.
It will, I'm sure, but at this point, Liam is focused only on the south. You have time to get there. Now, here's the thing. I also know that I know a thing or two about Southlanders, and I know that you honor deals that you make. So, put it this way. You agreed to do this for me, and you already have the rings. You could take them and run. I would never have a chance of stopping you. But if you do choose to honor this agreement, I will make absolutely certain that your sword knows that you have helped. I do have the means to do that.
Pretty nuts.
Ilva looks at him suspiciously, pondering if he's actually a Southlander under all that.
Well, I think we should go have a word with our captain.
Yes, I think we should.
Oh, I have one last question.
Of course.
He holds out the hand that he has the rings in.
Yes?
Were they lovers?
No. No, they weren't.
Family then?
Yes. They were a pair of sisters, possessed of quite strong magic, but joined physically and incapable of being separated. They shared, well, do you know about healing magic?
I know it exists.
Yes.
It's not my forte.
You also know then that while I could, if I'm strong at that particular kind of magic, let's say that somebody cut off your foot for the sake of argument.
Nuts.
I could create a new foot for you, but it would never be as strong as what you have. And you would always walk uneasily on it. It would never quite be your foot. You are aware of this, I take it?
I assume I am.
Yeah. Yes.
He nods.
Yes. They shared a stomach, most of their lower intestines, and they had only 3 lungs between them. There was no way to separate them, even with magic. It would have been too much too many parts to recreate.
Yes.
And as
even if you could, one would have been left a cripple.
Indeed. So as they got, eventually, when one of them got deathly ill, the other obviously would have died as well. And so they decided to do this instead. That way they would always be together, they said.
May I ask their names?
I don't actually know.
They are old, I take it.
Hundreds of years.
Ilva is listening to the story and wondering why the hell Siamese twins would need rings to communicate. And then it slowly dawns on her. It's just like, complete confusion, and then, huh? Oh.
So yes.
Thank you for sharing.
You are welcome. It is obviously a treasure of tremendous value. I also believe that this should show you exactly why, or exactly how important this task is to me and to my people. I've got no doubt that you have seen the results of the kind of fanaticism that Liam installs in his followers. You've lived in this establishment, and I happen to know that Aina is a good man who does not follow Liam.
Oh, we know.
And you've seen, I take it, what that means to him. If nothing else, that this place is mostly empty.
Yes. I will admit that first I simply thought you wanted to seize back control of the city for yourself. But if you're willing to pay this much, I don't think you have your own interests in mind necessarily.
I am not interested in that kind of power. The Arasari we do not rule. We can advise rulers, but we don't rule because, quite frankly, magic takes up enough time, as I'm sure you know, that running an entire area as large as what any of the swords control would be, well, I wouldn't want that job on top of everything else I do. So
You are a smart man. I think lesser men would have succumbed to greed.
oh, a few have probably tried over the years, or a few have tried over the years. It's never ended well. I'm interested in knowledge, and I am interested in the well-being of Tirglass and of the people of this city. It is my home, quite apart from everything else. It's my home. And while there are an awful lot of assholes living in this city, and there are, simply because of the size of it, there are far more good and decent people who do not deserve to have their minds bent by a man who cares nothing for their lives. There are still swords left in Tirglass who have thoughts for others than themselves. Liam is not such a man.
That is the impression we've been getting. He sighs and says, we shall definitely take this to our captain, and I will urge him as strongly as I possibly can that we do this.
Then that is all I can ask. I thank you. He gets up, and
I hope that your family can be mended. You and your son both seem to be good people.
thank you. I should like that very much. If you see him, not that I expect that you will, but if you should see him, well, maybe you can tell him that his father isn't as big of an idiot as he tends to think I am.
If I see him.
It has been my pleasure to meet you all. I hope that your future travels will be met with great success.
It has been our pleasure as well.
He nods to each of you in turn, and then he turns around and walks out.
I think as soon as he's left, Baggy looks at the others and says, well, let's hope there's some silver up in the north.
Hey, Frodi,
Yes?
do you know if they're still aware? She points at the rings.
As far as I know, they could be. They could also not.
So it depends on the item.
And the strength of the mind of the person.
Okay.
It all seems quite grim.
It is. Creating magical items. A lot of new students asks why it cannot be done, and well, it can. It just requires a great sacrifice.
To spend the rest of eternity trapped in an object. Doesn't seem
Well,
right.
as far as I know, it works better if they're willing.
Yes, obviously. Even so.
Well, the power of it seems to suggest that they really were.
Although I suppose given the circumstances, an eternity as a ring is preferable to what they had before.
They never wanted to be separate.
So,
That
Imagine-
explains what they can do.
It seems ironic then that part of the power is that they work even when they are separated across vast distances.
Well, they never are. They are always connected by magic.
Anyway,
And that magic we can use to communicate.
So should we get back to them? Not the rings, the other ones.
I think we should definitely see our captain and perhaps hand him a ring.
how soon are we all planning to move on this then?
I'd say as soon as
So-
possible.
We still have some things we've commissioned around town.
Exactly. Aside from having commissioned new equipment, there's still the matter of the tailoress and her daughter.
Well, I mean, if we're leaving anyways, we could just put a sword through the landlord's face and leave that as a warning before we go. We just have to be quick about it.
I'm not sure that it will be interpreted as a warning, but still, yes.
Yes, and without us there to actually reinforce the threat, it would probably...
We could take them with us.
I don't think they would benefit from that, but perhaps Aina can... Was it Aina?
Anna.
Well,
Aina. Yeah.
Aina. Anal.
Perhaps Aina can, as we suggested, strike up a deal with them. At least allow them some money to live for.
Indeed.
And, I mean, depending on how generous we are with our stay, that might be more or less easy for him. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
We maybe also have just to face the fact that we can't save everyone.
True.
No,
I'm preparing for
why
that
we
eventuality
prioritize
still.
our own.
I'm prepared for that eventuality, but still, it's worth bearing in mind.
Not that we shouldn't try, but we can't save everyone.
Then why try if we can't?
Because if we don't try, we don't know.
But you just said we can't.
I think that was
No.
an assumption.
I think the implication, Buggy, is that the important part of it is the trying, not necessarily the succeeding.
We agree on this.
I mean, if we tried to save everyone, we would have a ton of puppies and kittens and shit with us. We don't have the room for that.
I mean, they could be emergency rations.
No,
Sorry,
trust
but
me.
that was funny.
Sindri looks at Frody and says, "No, trust me, cat isn't good as a ration.
Doesn't have to taste nice if it's the difference between living or dying.
No,
Well,
seriously,
Further has a point, it just has to be nourishing.
seriously. After the first 3 days of indigestion, you will regret it.
So it might kill you. Just
So you've eaten lots of cats then?
Not, but I have tried it and it hasn't worked out well. Why do
Well,
you think
maybe
I'm
you're
telling you?
just
Maybe you just
sensitive.
didn't prepare it enough.
But Sindri stares at Buggy a little bit too long when he says like that.
Oh, good grief. Ah.
Out of character. Okay, first, can you hear me relatively clearly now? I've got a new headset.
Yes, you can. You're coming through
Second.
loud and clear.
Excellent. Secondly, will anything we've ordered be ready by today and the next day over?
I think it was either this day or the next day, so we can say that you can pick up your things sometime. You'll have everything together around noon.
Sounds good.
And then we will have suggested to the tailoress or seamstress, whatever
seamstress,
that
yeah.
perhaps she go talk to
Serena.
yeah.
Well,
Yes. Well,
the only time I tried talking with a cat, it scratched my face.
so yep. You guys do that. You get all your the purchases together. You suggest to the seamstress and her family that they try to strike up some kind of business deal with Aina, and You're pretty much ready to go.
And we get our boots from the boot man.
Yes, you do.
So we can boot people.
I should write this somewhere. Yes, so we got boots and new outfits.
Yes.
Yes. And a bow.
Yes.
Well, I got a bow.
Yes.
Bow.
Bow, bow. Bow, 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 bow. Alright.
My
So, you are, in fact, ready to depart the city again.
Yes.
And I think just because so how much did we pay per night?
I believe it was 2 silver per person per night.
And how long did we stay?
Oh, sorry, no. Yes, it was 2 silver because for them, obviously, the gold is more valuable. So it was 2 silver for you, which is obviously an exorbitant sum for you, but not for him. So, yes, and you've stayed here for... I think it's 3. I think it's 3 nights, yes.
4.
3.
Yeah, it was 3.
In that case, Frodi hands the innkeep a small pouch and tells him to open it when they've gone.
Right?
And when he does, he'll find the equivalent of 36 silver pieces.
Yeah, so you've paid him more than... Yeah. You've paid him twice, basically.
Basically twice for everyone.
Yeah.
Of course,
that
Zelda
was
doesn't know that.
outside.
Yeah, that's...
So she pays for her own stay.
Oh, that was outside of what we paid to stay there.
Oh, okay, no problem. Yes. Well, he's going to be... Well, his financial troubles are going to be solved for the immediate future, at least that way. He's going to be able to make ends meet for a little while now because of you guys, and that's no question about it. So
Perhaps even invest in some new curtains or tablecloth or sheets.
yeah, bed sheets like he talked about, that might actually be a good idea for him. So yes, some bedding in general. Yep. So he yes.
Yes.
What did we pay for the clothing?
Oh yeah. We haven't subtracted money yet, have we?
No, you haven't.
No.
It's-
So
I think I did. But that's just me.
let's see. They're with the boots and the clothing that the seamstress made, and she's giving you guys a good price because of what you did. It would be. That would be, as I said, with the boots, it would be a gold piece per person.
and that's
And
10
that's
silver
10?
pieces,
Yeah, that's 10 silver pieces. And again, you guys have, you're rolling in money right now.
Mm-hmm.
He gets 13.
Yes.
She gets 12 from
Yeah, sure. The so yes, you are ready to with all your stuff and so on. You are ready to go, and I take it that's what you do. But where exactly are you headed? You're going back down south towards where you originally came from.
I think that's the plan, yeah?
All right.
Yes.
If anything, I think Karatug would know where he sent the others.
Actually, we didn't get the map, did we? He kept
No,
that.
he kept the map.
Is it
Also-
possible to get a map, before we leave?
Not one as good as the one he.
Oh, no, just
made,
a
but
rough.
You can get a rough map for 2 silver pieces. Yes.
I shall buy one such map. Because then we could, when we leave, plan out which way to take, so to
course.
avoid major settlements, but perhaps still come by some. And I think we'll pass by that fisherman's place. I think we have to.
Yes.
I think Throdi will ask Sindri to help him plot out a path to go.
Yes.
Yep. Sounds good.
Those two really are like brothers. How do I do this?
Yes. I need to actually see if I can buy a skill of area knowledge tier glass at some point,
Definitely possible.
but not.
Well,
now.
you have been out walking now.
Yes.
I
A
have.
lot.
You so you guys you go back down southwards towards the fishing settlement first, the fishing hamlet.
Well,
Yes.
Yes.
I think we have to.
Yes.
Depending on how we retrace our steps, it would be a case of going roughly back the way we came, avoiding the settlement we burned down if possible. But we did. Oh, I don't know. Do we?
Yeah, once we're safely past that one, and perhaps
No, but-
go around the swamp.
But the point is that you are way to the south of the one that you burnt down. The mountain pass that you burnt is north of where you are now.
Okay.
Oh, in that case, we could probably make a route where we avoid that pesty swamp and that deadly
Yes.
forest as well.
Yes, you probably could.
Yep. Just
Well,
have to leave,
not only probably you can. It'll just take a little while longer, but yes, you can.
Yes.
I think that's
fine.
preferable,
Yes.
but that might
Sindri would
just
be
be
a-
me.
Yes. I think Sindri is okay with this. Christopher, however, is somewhat is pining for the two poor sods we left in the hut up there. But there you go.
But the thing is, you are
We've
roughly
been gone
on,
for a while.
yes, and you're also
True.
roughly on the same level geographically as where the swamp is.
enough.
You remember when you came from the south, you specifically did not go to the capital at the
Yes.
time.
Yes.
You went another way rather than going through the capital to avoid attracting attention.
Yes, of course.
Which is why you went through the swampy area instead. Then you went further up north to the mountain pass, which you got told you had to destroy because it was where, you know, the main thoroughfare for transport of goods and men and
Yeah.
so on from
Yeah,
north
yeah,
to
yeah.
south. And I'm just recapping because clearly this is, you know, there's some confusion about the geography here. And now that you've destroyed that, you've gone back down south somewhat, but you've, instead of going back towards the swamp because of all the nastiness that was there, and because you needed to lay low for a while, then you decided to go to the capital. So yeah.
Okay, I guess it's traveling time.
Yes, and it doesn't. That nothing much happens before you get to the fishing village. So I'll say it takes you about. I think it took about 3 days to get from that to the swamp. So let's say now that you've gone in a slightly different direction, it takes you 4 days, roughly 4 days. Yeah, you get to the fishing hamlet late on the 4th day. And obviously they do remember you because, you know, they don't see that many Southlanders.
Oh, we were nice.
Yes, you were much nicer than the only other ones that they had seen. So
Only this time we don't have any Tuglassian people with us.
no, this time you're coming back all on your own, which they do ask about.
Mm-hmm.
We did send them to save that one guy, didn't we?
Yes, you did, and they
Well, Aiden survived with Mr. Blind,
yes,
and they were supposed to go back
yes,
once they, you know, were up to it.
yes,
But they have
And-
not come through here.
no.
What about the man they were sent to pick up?
They look incredibly sad as they tell you this, but they didn't find him alive. They did find him, however, but rather than simply leave him where he was, they say that they brought him here and they gave him a decent burial. But he had died in the time before they came and found him.
It was likely.
They
deserve thank for burying him.
They point you towards a small mound on the outskirts of town. Just a, you know, it's not like they've made him a hill or anything that takes months, but you know, a small. They've set up a small cairn on top of a stone cairn on top of a grave for him, and you can tell that, you know, his shield is there, so you know that long shield that he carried is there, so you have no doubt that it was him that they found.
Ilva looks at Baggy. See, we tried. We didn't win this one.
What we tried.
But had he still been alive, we could have taken him with us back.
And he'll be happy to know, Thrody says and looks at the grave, that we succeeded.
They do, the fisherman also asks if you had any news of his son.
Did
We
we?
didn't meet him.
No, you didn't.
I'm sorry.
No, he realized. He says, I realized that the chance was only, small, but thank you for looking.
So, do they mind if we stay overnight and then
No,
we can
no,
set
you're
out
welcome to.
tomorrow after?
You're welcome to stay.
And then I suggest we do that.
They, make sure you have a good meal, and none of the houses are big enough that you can all stay together, but they, you get invited to stay with, those few families who live here, and you get a roof over your heads and a warm blanket and some food, and you're ready to go on the next day.
Yeah, Ilva does pay for the stay though.
Well,
Thrody does as well.
They're happy that you do. They don't ask you to, but they're not saying no to the money because, like most people, they can use it. So they when you leave the following day, they bid you a good journey and once again express their wishes that CharismaToAC is going to come back and retake the area, and they do ask you to please please let him, when you get back there, please let the sword know that there are still people who are loyal in this part of Tirgwas.
And I guess we also pay them to ferry us over. We did
yes.
need that last time.
Yes, but that was actually when you left, so they ferried you over the night before.
Oh.
So when you got back. So
I think we lost a baggie.
We did?
Oh, he's back.
I'm here. I've always been here.
Okay.
But you fell out of roll 20.
Probably had to update
Yeah.
or
Uh,
refresh.
Yes. But we have...
In that case, Thrody, the clumsy person that he is, accidentally leaves behind a few coins.
Yes.
Ilva doesn't even need any kind of excuse to say, oh, I'm clumsy, she just is.
Yeah. So
She
you...
also
I need-
clumsily leaves behind some money for them.
I need to roll willpower, I think, for this. Hold on.
Aww.
It's
That's a failure. Sindri doesn't leave any money.
No, that's fine.
I like that
Nice.
we have Sindri, who is very stingy, and Thrody, who's perhaps a little too generous at times.
They're also kind of always at odds.
Yes.
Yes.
It's like night and day.
Yes, it is.
I want
Big
to
happy
break-
smile, grumpy man.
Mm-hmm. So you guys, you head on further south, and you are well and truly away from any immediate danger, and while you do at one point come across a you actually let's deal with that. When you've traveled another 3 days after the fishing village, that is the first time you come across anyone who looks like that it's an armed group that you come across.
Question.
Yes.
Are we now back in CharismaToAC's lands, or are we still in Liam's?
Strictly speaking, at least you believe you're still in Liam's, but the point, of course, being that there have been, the whole point was that CharismaToAC was going to, do some recapturing of land. So you believe that you are best still in Liam's country.
Ah, well, good thing we have Baggy to do the talking then. So we come across armed forces.
Yes, you come across a group of... let's just say you come across across a... Yeah, exactly. You come across a group of 5 men. They are armed, as I said, not particularly well equipped in any way, but they're clearly, carrying weapons and looking like they at least know how to use them. So yeah.
Can we see who they're with? Do they carry insignia or stuff like that?
Not really.
Well, neither are we, so we can just stare suspiciously at each other.
Yes.
Baggy would suggest, quietly so of course, that they just keep on moving.
Yeah, they haven't noticed you, these 5, they haven't seen you.
Well, then let's just move on.
Yeah. Good. Well, you just circumvent them, which is no problem whatsoever. And after some more traveling and some more sore feet and ouch and so on, because long days of walking.
Oh, and new
very-
boots. We have to what do you
Break
call that?
them in.
Break them in.
Break in your new boots. They're well made though, so that's not difficult. And they are lined. They're not rawhide on your feet. They're lined boots, so they're pretty good. But you get eventually you come far enough south that you are no longer in any kind of doubt that you are in fact in Karatok's lands, if for no other reason than you actually see some of his men, and they are carrying his colors. So you realize that, oh, okay, at least we're on the right side of the line now.
In that case, Ilva waves enthusiastically at them.
Well, they look up and over and well, they're a little confused at seeing you guys.
Why?
Well, they're still are not right up in your face, but
No. Well, Ilva doesn't stop walking toward them.
Okay, well, one of them comes towards you and says, "Well, aren't you supposed to be in the other direction?"
Why?
Southlanders. You
Yes.
Oh wait, you must be the ones that they send up north on the. Oh wow, so you came back. What?
Of course.
Well, you went with some of our men too, didn't you?
Yeah.
None of them made it.
Well, Aiden and Radon might have.
All right.
But they were injured, so we left them with some stuff so they could get over it and maybe come back.
Okay. Well, if I'm okay. I don't know them personally, but it's good to know that a couple of them might have made it at least. Well, anyway, if you continue and he points and he says in that direction for another 2 days, you'll get to the camp, which incidentally means that they've moved camp a significant way since last, because this, it took a 10-day to travel the other way. And
Are they talking Southland or Tierglass?
they're talking new form.
All right. Well, she understands some of it.
Yeah. And it took you 10 days to travel the other way, as I remember. And
Yeah, but that was because we couldn't make use of our long legs and trekking thing,
Yes.
because we had people with us who weren't
Yes.
that fast.
Indeed, but you've also gone...
Other than the she, who probably were.
Yeah, yes, but you've also gone a circumspect route this time. You've gone by the capital, so... so
Well,
they've
we're new here.
so-
We don't know the area.
That's not the point. The point is that they've moved the camp from where you set out from. It's not in the same place as where you said goodbye to everyone when you left. They've moved the camp.
As militaries often do.
Yes, exactly. So, but anyway, as I said, they point you in the right direction.
Go. Baggy nods to them and then keeps on walking.
Yes.
Ilva happily takes out her cape and puts it back on.
Yes. Now you
Dead.
can. Now you can actually wear your own colors.
She heavily embraces it before she puts it on with a big happy smile. Yay, I've missed it.
Thrody shall follow her example.
Yes.
It's warm.
Yes,
It's very warm.
It's warm and it's well known and it's your colors.
He
So-
doesn't have quite the same fuzzy feelings about it, but he does put it on.
Yes. And the and yes, 2 days later you do in fact come upon the camp of Karatok, and it looks pretty much the same size as when you left, but you know, maybe slightly smaller. But yes.
Must seek out our crewmates, I think.
Yes.
If they're here, they were also being sent out.
Yes.
Okay. Well, if
But
not
wha-
them, then
At least we'll know then.
Yes.
Yep.
However, when you do come back, you find them. Your crew is there. All with the exception. Yes, they're there. Your crew members are present, with the exception of 3.
Oh.
Ooh.
None of the ones that are named. But there are 3 who are not there. And
Well, Lilva scans over them and then realizes they are 3 short.
yeah,
And then makes a frown.
yeah, that frown is reciprocated from those who are already there.
Well, maybe to lighten the spirit, we have some tale to tell.
That we do. Is Ormer here?
Yes, he is. Grani. No, sorry, not Grani, because he's actually back with the ship, if you remember. So not him.
Yeah, he's ship sitting.
Yes, he's ship sitting indeed. Let's see, who is it then? It
Ship sitting.
is. Let's see who gets up and speaks up. Black Sweetie gets up. Says yes. Here. He's back that way.
Thank you. We well, we just, as Ilva said, we have some story to tell, but we should probably meet with the captain first.
Yes, probably should. He's probably not in the best of moods. Just so you know.
Well, let's lighten it then.
All right. Well, that sounds like you have good news. At least that's good.
Should we take a break before we meet with him?
Yes, actually, that's an excellent suggestion. Let's take the second break here. It's a slightly shorter part this time around, but that's fine. We'll take our second break and be right back with the final hour of the Long Voyage.